Right now at 11, a tense night in the East Bay as firefighters race to put out a fast-moving brush fire. The wind pushing the flames towards a neighborhood in Antioch, forcing families to evacuate.
Yeah, pretty intense to see that video. 200 acres burned, but there is some good news at this late hour. Forward progress has been stopped. Where exactly is this happening? We'll take a look. This is in the hills near Antioch along Somerville Road. Let's bring in NBC's Alyssa Gord, who's in that neighborhood right near the fire line. Alyssa, what are you seeing right now?
Well, Raj, you can certainly hear the wind around us and you can certainly smell the smoke going on. But now that it's become dark outside, it's much harder to see the plumes of smoke that we saw earlier in the evening, and you could see even from the freeway further away. And we're hoping that that means that fire crews are actually getting control on that fire, as we're not seeing the same type of plumes that we saw earlier on in the day. Now, residents have told us that they first started to see some of the smoke coming out around that hillside at around 7 p.m. They said it was a really ominous thing to see just crop up in their neighborhood. Some of them wasted no time packing up and getting out before any official evacuation orders or warnings were issued. The Contra Costa County Fire District tells us this fire has burned more than 215 acres. Fortunately, most of that has been on the hillside and no homes were lost, though a few neighbors did lose their back fences. I mentioned all the smoke I can smell out here. Well, we're told 4 residents here in Antioch were transported out of the area with symptoms of things like smoke inhalation. People living up the hill and closest to the fire were told to evacuate their homes. But fortunately, about an hour ago, that order was lifted as the crews stopped forward progress on the fire.
That's crazy. As I drove more down, I see a lot of families evacuating, grabbing their kids, luggage, just a lot of stuff, a lot of tears, a lot of people crying.
Firefighters tell us the dry grass all around here, plus the strong wind gusts, have really been helping to fuel this fire, particularly earlier on in the evening. And the fire district tells us that its crews will be out here all night and into the morning, continuing to monitor the area and to try and make sure that no additional spots ignite. Also, the district is telling residents that if they have not already, it's important to sign up for the county emergency alert system so they can be aware if things change. Live in Antioch, Alyssa Gord, NBC Bay Area News.
Alyssa, good information. We do hear where you are, some speakers in the back. Is that the fire department, and what are they saying?
It is the California Highway Patrol and the fire department. They have the road blocked off over at James Donlin Boulevard, trying to keep residents from coming into this area because this is a main road that the emergency vehicles need to get up that hill so they can continue monitoring the fire. And so they're still trying to keep a clear path so that those huge emergency vehicles can continue making their way into and out of this area, because they are going to need to keep tabs on this area throughout the night.
Okay, it's still an active firefight then. Alyssa Gord there along the fire lines. Let's bring in our meteorologist, Vianney Arana here. We're talking about the wind speed, the wind direction, and we could have this again tomorrow in terms of wind.
Yeah, and unfortunately the winds are expected to pick up. They have actually picked up since that fire initially broke out, and we can see right now on this map, just to give you an idea, the winds are blowing from the south-southwest, and it's at about 20 miles per hour right now with the sustained winds, but it's gusty, and we could see gusts upwards of 30 plus overnight into tomorrow, Thursday, with the increase of those onshore winds. Another big thing that we have to monitor, you heard her say the dry brush out there has been problematic with the fuels. And even right now, heading into the late hour, it's about 32% of humidity there. We tend to see a nice recovery overnight in the humidity. We're not really going to get much of that in the interior areas. Temperatures at 79. We did manage to climb into some upper 80s and 90s for today. But tomorrow, the temperatures will cool off. However, the wind speeds are expected to pick up, and the humidity levels will once again drop down for some of these interior areas. So again, this is why we have to continue to monitor this, because even though we're going to see the cool down with that high pressure that just passed through, dipping us into those 90s, that's going to be an impact for the next 2 days. So that elevated fire danger will continue overnight into Thursday and Friday. So we definitely have to continue to monitor that situation. We'll talk about the extended forecast and what to expect over the weekend in just a few minutes.